In the deep silence of space, stories traveled faster than light. Among alien worlds, one story always returned, whispered in fear. Humans once existed. They were said to be warriors so dangerous that even stars bowed before them. Yet no one had ever seen a human. To most, they were only a myth, an old ghost story told to frighten children. On the alien world of Kareth Prime, two young officers sat inside a watchtower, staring at the black void beyond their scanners. "Do you believe it?" one of them asked quietly, his eyes never leaving the screen. "The old stories about humans?" the other laughed. "Humans are lies, a fairy tale. My grandfather told me humans had wings of fire and 8 planets. Do you believe that?" "I don't know," the first officer whispered. "But sometimes myths have truth." The console suddenly beeped. A warning light flashed red. Both aliens jumped from their seats. The scanner displayed something large, something moving fast, too fast. "What is that?" the laughing officer asked, his voice now tight with fear. Screen showed hundreds of objects forming a wall in the dark. They weren't meteors. They weren't pirate ships. They were organized, silent, and they were coming closer. The first officer swallowed hard. "It's a fleet." The signal spread across nearby systems. Dozens of alien worlds turned their eyes toward the same region of space. A shadow was moving at impossible speed, faster than any known engine could carry. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, leaders of many species gathered. The hall was bright, filled with tall pillars and silver banners. The Supreme Chancellor, a reptilian being with cold golden eyes, raised his voice. "What has entered our space?" A thin insectoid scientist stepped forward, trembling. "Scanners confirm it is a fleet of unknown origin. Ships larger than anything we have built. Technology far beyond our own." Another council member, a massive beast with iron armor on his skin, growled. "It must be pirates, or some lost empire trying to scare us." "No," the scientist whispered. "It is something else. Their design, it matches the old records." The chamber grew silent. One nervous voice broke the stillness. "You mean humans?" The words spread like fire through the hall. Some laughed, some shouted in fear. Others whispered prayers to their ancient gods. "Humans are not real," the armored beast roared. "They are stories." But deep inside, every leader remembered the old warnings. When humans return, stars will burn. Far from the council, a patrol ship dared to approach the Shadow Fleet. Its captain, a cautious alien with pale skin, ordered the crew to open communication. "Unknown fleet," he said through the comms. "Identify yourselves." Only silence answered. The crew exchanged nervous glances. The captain spoke again. "This space is under the protection of the Galactic Council. State your purpose." Static filled the channel, then cleared. A face appeared on the screen, a face unlike any alien. 2 eyes, sharp and piercing. Skin smooth. Expression calm, almost too calm. The alien crew froze. The being spoke only 2 words, in a voice steady and cold. "We're back." Before the captain could reply, his ship's lights flickered. The engine screamed. Then everything went dark. The patrol vessel vanished from all scanners, as if it had never existed. News of the disappearance spread like a storm. Worlds panicked. The council called another meeting, but even their strongest fleets hesitated to move closer. Fear gripped the galaxy. On a lonely archive moon, a historian searched through dusty records. She was an old alien with tired eyes. But her hands shook as she opened forbidden scrolls. The writing spoke of a war long ago, when humans had ruled with fire and steel. No one remembered how the war ended, only that humans had disappeared. Some believed they destroyed themselves. Others believed they had left, waiting to return. Her voice cracked as she read the warning carved into the stone. "When humans come again, the galaxy will kneel, or it will burn." She dropped the scroll, whispering, "The myth was true." Meanwhile, the Shadow Fleet moved closer. Alien scouts reported ships shaped like blades, covered in strange armor that shimmered like liquid light. Their engines ignored the laws of physics. They did not drift, they sliced through space like hunters through tall grass. Across the galaxy, fear grew into chaos. Some species prepared for surrender. Others sharpened their weapons. But one question haunted them all. What do the humans want? Inside the largest ship of the mysterious fleet, a human commander watched the galaxy map. His officers waited for orders, their faces calm, their eyes cold. One officer spoke softly. "They are afraid of us." The commander nodded. "Good. They should be." But then his gaze hardened. "This is not conquest. Not yet. We came back for a reason. Something worse is coming, and only we can stop it." His words remained hidden from the aliens beyond. To them, the humans were still. A nightmare made real. On Kareth Prime, the two young officers at the watchtower received one final broadcast. The screen lit up with a simple human message, carried to every world at once. "You forgot us. You erased us. But we never forgot you. We have returned." The officers stared in silence, their hearts racing. What happens now? One whispered. The other shook his head slowly. If the myth is true, then everything changes. Outside, the stars seemed to tremble. The fleet had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council Chamber rose high above the clouds of Gerin Prime, a colossal dome of silver and glass that reflected the twin suns. Inside, leaders from 100 species gathered, their voices a storm of fear, anger, and disbelief. Council had been called in emergency after the Shadow Fleet appeared. Every screen in the chamber displayed the same terrifying image ships shaped like blades, moving with silent power, unlike anything the galaxy had seen for thousands of years. At the center, the Supreme Chancellor, a tall reptilian with golden eyes and scaled skin that shimmered under the lights, slammed his staff on the floor. The chamber fell silent. "Speak," he commanded, his voice echoing. "What do we face?" A thin insectoid scientist stepped forward, clutching a glowing tablet in shaking hands. His antennae twitched nervously as he spoke. "The fleet is unlike any known design. Energy readings are off the charts. Their engines, they break every law of physics we know. My lords, I fear." He hesitated, as if the words themselves would bring disaster. "I fear they are human," the chamber erupted. Some laughed harshly, others shouted in denial. A booming voice rose above the noise. "Humans are fairy tales," roared General Korvac, a beast-like alien covered in thick iron plates of natural armor. "Stories told to make soldiers obey. Do not insult this council with children's myths." "But," another counselor, an elder with pale crystal skin that caught the light, raised her trembling hand. Her voice was quiet but sharp. "I have seen the old archives. I know the warnings. Humans were not myths. They were rulers. They fought wars across the stars and then vanished. And now," she looked toward the screen, "they are back." The golden-eyed chancellor narrowed his gaze. "If they are humans, why return now?" The insectoid scientist answered quickly. "Perhaps to reclaim what they lost. Perhaps for revenge, or perhaps for conquest." The word conquest hung heavy in the air. From the back of the chamber, a nervous young delegate whispered to her neighbor, "If the stories are true, then we are doomed." "Silence," snapped the chancellor. His tail lashed the floor, cracking the stone. "We are not doomed. We are the Galactic Council. Our fleets are many. Our weapons are powerful. We will face them." But another voice, calm and deep, rose from the shadows. It belonged to Admiral Zoran, commander of the outer fleets. His dark eyes carried the weight of battles long past. "I faced pirates, warlords, and machines," Zoran said slowly. but I have never felt fear like this. When our patrol ship approached them, it vanished without a trace. No wreckage. No signal. Nothing. Tell me, Council, what weapon can do that? The hall grew silent again. No one had an answer. The Chancellor gritted his teeth. Then we must prepare. Summon every fleet. Fortify the border systems. If they want war, we will give it. But the crystal-skinned elder shook her head. You do not understand. You think this is war. But the record said humans were more than warriors. They were nightmares. To fight them is not war, it is suicide. General Korvac slammed his fist against the table, making it tremble. Better to die fighting than to bow to a myth. The chamber erupted again into chaos, some shouting for battle, others begging for diplomacy, and still more whispering in panic. The voices clashed like thunder until suddenly the lights flickered. The giant screens at the front of the chamber glowed. Bright white. An unknown signal had forced its way into their systems. Every leader froze. The noise died. The white screen shifted, and a human face appeared. Calm, stern, unblinking. Two piercing eyes looked directly at the council as if through the walls. Through their very souls. Gasps filled the chamber. The human spoke with a steady voice that carried across the galaxy. You forgot us. You buried us in your stories. You told your children we were myths. But we are not myths. We are human, and we have returned. The image flickered once, then vanished. The screens went black. The chamber sat in stunned silence. Some leaders shivered. Others clenched their fists in anger. The insectoid scientist broke the silence, his voice barely a whisper. It's true. Every word of the old warnings. They are here. General Korvac roared, trying to shake off the fear. So they speak. Words do not win wars. We will crush them. But Admiral Zoran shook his head, his voice quiet but firm. You fool. Did you not see their eyes? They do not come like pirates. They come like rulers. The Chancellor's golden eyes burned as he raised his staff once more. Enough. Whether myth or monster, they have revealed themselves. This council must act. We will not surrender. We will not hide. The fleets will gather, and we will show these humans that the galaxy is not theirs to take. Some cheered, desperate for courage. Others stayed silent, their fear heavier than iron. As the chamber emptied, whispers followed the delegates down the long halls. What if our weapons fail? What if the stories are true? Will any world be safe? On the balcony outside, Admiral Zoran stood alone, staring up at the stars. His voice was barely a murmur, carried away by the wind. They say humans once ruled the stars, he whispered. If that is true, then perhaps they never stopped. Perhaps we were only living in their shadow all along. Behind him, the council chamber glowed bright against the night, but in the sky above, the shadow fleet drew closer with every passing hour. The myth was no longer a story. It was real, and it was coming. The shadow fleet moved closer each day, silent and steady, like predators circling their prey. No one knew their true strength. No one knew what the humans wanted. Fear spread through every world of the council. But still, someone had to face them. On the edge of the Lyro system, a patrol ship floated in the cold dark. Its crew had been chosen for one task, to make contact. The captain, a pale-skinned alien with deep black eyes, stood at the front window, staring at the stars. His crew waited behind him, restless. Captain, one officer whispered, are we truly going to speak to them? The captain did not turn. His voice was calm but heavy. If we run, the council learns nothing. If we fight, we die without answers. We must know who they are and what they want. Another officer hissed nervously. What if the old stories are true? The captain finally turned, his gaze sharp. Stories do not frighten me. I need facts. Prepare the comms. The crew obeyed. Lights flickered as the communication array activated. A channel opened, carrying their message into the dark. This is the Galactic Council patrol vessel Starwatch. Unknown fleet, identify yourselves. For a long moment, there was only static. The crew leaned forward, waiting. Then, a voice broke through. You should not have called us. The crew froze. The words were clear, in a language no one had spoken. For thousands of years, yet somehow every alien on the ship understood them. The captain steadied himself. Who are you? The screen flickered, and a face appeared. Smooth skin, two piercing eyes, no scales, no horns, no fangs, just human. Gasps filled the control room. The human leaned closer to the camera. His expression was calm, too calm. We are what you feared. We are human. One officer stumbled back, whispering, It's real. The myth is real. The captain raised his chin. Why have you returned? The human's lips curved in the smallest of smiles. To remind you. Remind us of what? The captain demanded. The human's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. That you were never safe. Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed. Power drains surged through the systems. The crew screamed as consoles sparked. What's happening? An engineer shouted, They're inside our systems. Another cried. The captain slammed his fist on the controls. Shut them out, now! But it was too late. The lights dimmed, the engines died, and the ship went silent. Outside the window, the massive human vessel loomed, a black blade against the stars. The human face returned to the screen. His eyes locked onto the captain. This was your first mistake, he said. Approaching us, the captain's voice shook. If you want war, know this, the council will not bow. The human tilted his head, as if amused. War? You think this is war? No, this is something greater. What do you mean? The captain pressed. The human gave no answer. The screen went dark. A moment later, the patrol ship's systems shut down completely. The crew cried out in panic as gravity failed, leaving them weightless. Then, without sound or warning, the patrol vessel vanished. No explosion, no wreckage. One heartbeat it was there, the next heartbeat it was gone. On Geron Prime, alarms rang. Through the council chambers, scouts had reported the patrol's disappearance. The council demanded answers, but all they had were fragments of the last transmission. The chancellor's golden eyes narrowed. What do we know? Admiral Zoran stood at the center, grim and heavy. The patrol established contact. They saw a human face. Their last words confirmed it. The insectoid scientist raised his trembling hands. Then it is true. The fleet is human. They destroyed the patrol without firing a shot. We cannot fight this. General Korvac snarled, his armored fists slamming the table. We can fight. They bleed like all creatures. If they wish for war, let them taste our fire. No. Admiral Zoran said firmly. You do not understand. The ship did not explode. It did not break apart. It simply vanished. What weapon does that? What defense do we have against it? The chamber fell silent again. Fear filled every corner of the room. From the far end, the crystal-skinned elder spoke softly. The stories said humans were not only warriors. They were engineers of impossible things. They bent the laws of nature until nature broke. Perhaps what we saw today was only a fraction of their power. Her words chilled the chamber. Back in the Lyro system, the human fleet drifted silently. Inside the massive flagship, the same human who had spoken to the patrol turned to his commander. They are afraid, he reported. They will not unite. They will argue. Their fear divides them. The commander, a tall man with silver streaks in his hair, studied the star map glowing before him. His eyes were sharp, his voice calm. They should be afraid, he said. But fear is only the beginning. Shall we strike? The officer asked. The commander shook his head slowly. Not yet. Let them see the shadows before they see the fire. The myth is already alive again. That alone is power. He leaned forward, his hand brushing across the holographic map of alien worlds. Soon they will understand. We are not their enemies. We are their reminder. Something far worse is coming, and without us, they will not survive it. The officer frowned. Should we tell them? Not yet, the commander whispered. His eyes hardened. First, let them fear us. Then they will listen. Far away, in the frightened worlds of the council, children hid under their beds as their parents whispered about humans. Soldiers sharpened their weapons, though their hands trembled. And in the council halls, leaders shouted, argued, and prayed. The myth was no longer a story. It had spoken, it had acted, and it had erased. A ship from existence. The galaxy would never forget the first encounter. On a lonely moon at the edge of the galaxy, the archives of the ancient civilizations stretched as far as the eye could see. Towering shelves of stone and metal held scrolls, tablets, and holograms records, so old that most species had long forgotten their meaning. The historian, an elderly alien with pale, mottled skin and eyes like liquid silver, moved slowly through the aisles. Her name was whispered with respect, Lyra. She had studied history for centuries, but even she had never dared to look at the forbidden scrolls that spoke of humans. Lyra paused before a massive door, engraved with warnings in multiple alien languages. Her hands trembled as she reached for the lock. The legends were clear. No one who reads these scrolls leaves unchanged. As the door opened with a hiss, the air smelled of dust and metal. Light flickered from her lantern, casting long shadows across the ancient texts. Why am I doing this? She whispered to herself. They are gone, or so we thought. Her clawed fingers traced the edge of a large stone tablet. Symbols glowed faintly beneath her touch. She read aloud, her voice shaking. Humans were not like other species. They fought wars across the galaxy, bending stars and creating machines that no one could destroy. They conquered worlds, yet they vanished suddenly, as if they never existed. Lyra's mind raced. Could the fleet that had appeared near the council really be these humans? The patrol ship had vanished without a trace. The council was in chaos. All signs pointed to it being true. She reached for another scroll. The ancient writing was faded but readable. Her eyes widened. Warnings, warnings everywhere, she murmured. When humans return, the galaxy will kneel or burn. Shadow flickered in the corner of the room. Lyra stiffened. Who's there? No answer, only the faint echo of her own voice. Her heart raced. She turned back to the scroll, hands shaking. The symbols seemed to shift, forming images in her mind. Human soldiers, massive ships, battles across stars, worlds reduced to dust. A low voice broke the silence. Lyra. She spun around. An alien archivist stood in the doorway. His eyes wide, his body rigid. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. They're coming back, you know this. I must know, she said, her voice trembling. The patrol ship, the fleet. It matches the old records. Humans are not myths. They are real. The archivist shook his head. No, we only told stories to scare children. We only warned ourselves. But now, his voice dropped. Now it is too late. Lyra's clawed hand gripped the scroll tightly. Tell me what you know. He stepped closer, his voice barely audible. Long ago, humans ruled galaxies we cannot even imagine. They built weapons that could destroy planets with a thought. Entire fleets vanished under their hands. And then they disappeared. For centuries, we believed they were gone. They vanished. Why? Lyra asked, leaning forward. Some say they destroyed themselves, he said. Some say they left, hiding to return when the galaxy was weaker. And now, his voice trembled. Now they are back. And the patrol ship was only the beginning. Lyra's mind spun. If the humans are like the scrolls say, we are not ready. No fleet in the council is ready. No weapon can stop them. The Fingal. Archivist nodded. We thought humans were a warning. Now they are a reality. Every world that sees them will panic. The council will fight. But they will not survive an attack like this. Lyra swallowed hard. Then what can we do? The archivist shook his head. We prepare, we record. We hope that anyone can learn from the old ways. Because the humans will not wait for anyone to catch up. Suddenly, her lantern flickered. Shadows stretched across the room as if the ancient texts themselves were watching. Lyra gasped. They are here, she whispered. No, the archivist said quickly. Not yet, but they are coming. You feel it, don't you? The warning in the scrolls, it is alive. Something is moving across the stars. Something that we cannot stop with words or weapons. Lyra took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. We have to tell the council. They need to understand. They cannot treat this as a myth anymore. The archivist placed a hand on her shoulder. They will not listen until it is too late. Humans are patient. They wait, and they remember. Everything we wrote about them, they know we did. They remember our fear. They remember our mistakes. A chill ran down Lyra's spine. She looked back at the glowing symbols. The images seemed to shimmer like a living memory. Humans had returned, and every warning, every story she had studied for centuries, now carried weight. They were never gone, she said softly. Not really. And the galaxy will pay for forgetting them. Her voice echoed across the empty chamber. The scrolls seemed to whisper back, 1,000 voices from the past. When humans return, the stars will burn. Lyra closed the largest tablet with a trembling hand. The warning was clear. The council, the fleets, the worlds, they had no idea what was coming. The humans were real. They were powerful. And they were waiting for the right moment to remind the galaxy why they had once ruled it all. Outside, the stars twinkled coldly. Somewhere beyond the reaches of the archives, the shadow fleet moved silently. Lyra knew that soon, the ancient warnings would no longer be enough to keep the galaxy safe. And for the first time in centuries, she truly understood the meaning of the legend. Humans were not just a myth. They were a force that even time itself could not erase. The stars were quiet, but the silence carried a tension heavier than any battlefield. Across the galaxy, fleets of alien ships moved into formation, bristling with weapons designed for war. Every commander knew the reports. Humans were real. Humans were back. And humans were nothing like the legends had described. They were worse. On the bridge of a Geron Prime warship, Admiral Zoran stood tall, his eyes scanning the approaching human fleet. The patrol ship had vanished days ago, and now the council's fleets were on high alert. Admiral, an officer said nervously, our scanners can barely keep track of their movement. They accelerate faster than light, and their shields. They are unlike anything we've ever seen. Zoran's voice was calm, but the weight of it made the crew tense. Stay focused. Watch their formation. Study their patterns. Learn something before it's too late. A young technician leaned over her console. Sir, they're already within weapons range. Should we fire? Zoran shook his head slowly. Wait, let them reveal their power first. In the void ahead, the human ships glimmered with a strange, liquid light. They moved like predators, silent and precise, each vessel perfectly aligned with the others. Energy fields shimmered around them, bending light as if reality itself obeyed them. On the flagship of the human fleet, the commander watched through a view screen. His officers stood behind him, calm, confident, and unafraid. Begin demonstration, he said quietly. A pulse of energy shot from the lead human ship. It struck a small asteroid near the Geron fleet, and the rock disintegrated into fine dust. In an instant, the alien crews gasped. What was that? A young officer whispered. Zoran's lips tightened. Their weapons. They are instantaneous. They can destroy anything without warning. The humans moved closer. One Jiran vessel fired a plasma cannon. The blast hit a human ship. Nothing happened. No explosion. No sparks. The shield shimmered briefly. Then the ship continued on its path, unharmed. They absorbed it. Another. Officer muttered. Every shot. They are untouchable. Zoran's gaze hardened. This is not war. This is demonstration. Observation. They want us to see what we cannot fight. The human fleet slowed slightly, as if waiting for a response. Then, another pulse, this time aimed at a larger alien cruiser. The ship shuddered violently, systems flickered, and alarms rang. The crew struggled to maintain control, but the energy pulse passed through shields as if they were paper. They are rewriting physics. One engineer whispered, horror in his voice. Our weapons cannot touch them. Our shields cannot hold. Them, they move through reality itself. Zoran closed his eyes briefly. We underestimated them for centuries. Now we see the truth. Humans are not only warriors, they are engineers of power beyond imagination. Across the fleet, panic began to spread. Smaller vessels tried to retreat, but even that was futile. The humans moved faster than any engine could allow. They appeared here, then there, bending paths across space with impossible speed. Admiral. A lieutenant shouted. They're splitting the fleet. Half our forces are trapped near the asteroid belt. Zoran's voice was sharp. Hold formation. Do not scatter. We learn from this, or we die. A blast of light suddenly cut through. The void. One human ship approached a Jiran dreadnought. The dreadnought fired everything it had: laser, plasma, missiles, but the human ship ignored it. In one heartbeat, it fired a concentrated pulse. Systems shut down. Engines failed. Gravity failed. The dreadnought drifted helplessly, a massive corpse in the void. Silence. Then fear. The bridge shook as the crew realized the truth. One human ship had disabled a dreadnought without damage to itself. They do not play by our rules, one officer whispered. Zoran's hands clenched the railing. This is beyond war. This is a display of power. They are showing us what we cannot oppose. The human commander observed through the holographic display. His voice was calm. They need to understand. Fear teaches better than fire. Let them see their weakness before we speak. An officer stepped forward. Shall we engage them fully, sir? The commander shook his head slowly. Not yet. Let them experience their limits. Let them know that even their largest fleets are nothing compared to human ingenuity. We are not here to conquer, yet. We are here to remind them what they have forgotten. Zoran turned to his officers. Report every system failure. Note every movement. Remember every detail. This is history, and our history will be written in our survival or our extinction. An alien scientist on the bridge muttered, if humans are this powerful, no fleet, no weapon can stop them. We are powerless. Zoran's jaw tightened. Powerful or not, we endure. We adapt. That is all we can do. As the fleets faced each other, tension thickened the void. The humans hovered silently, motionless yet moving in ways no eyes could follow. Their weapons glimmered like stars in motion, bending space around them. Each pulse, each maneuver, reminded the aliens of their fragility. The Council's fleets finally understood what the archives had warned. Humans were not just warriors. They were the apex of ingenuity and power, capable of destroying entire star systems in moments. And they were patient, waiting for the right time to strike or to teach a lesson no one would forget. Admiral, a lieutenant said quietly, his voice shaking, if we survive this, the galaxy will never be the same. Zoran looked at the void, at the human ships moving like shadows of myth made real. His voice was steady but low. We have survived worse. But this is something different. Prepare the fleet. Watch, learn, and pray that the humans' patience does not run out. The human fleet shifted slightly, as if sensing the council's fear. The glow of their shields danced across the darkness. No one moved, no one spoke. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time in millennia, the council realized the truth. Humans were not myths. Humans were real. And their power was beyond anything they had imagined. The void waited. Silence waited. And somewhere in the command bridge of the human flagship, a single officer smiled. "They see us now," the human commander said. "And soon they will understand." The council fleets held their positions in the dark void, their massive ships trembling under the unseen weight of human power. Every commander knew the reports. The humans were real, unstoppable, and beyond comprehension. Silence filled the space between fleets, broken only by the soft hum of alien engines. On the flagship of Gerin Prime, Admiral Zoran paced the bridge, his mind racing. Every sensor, every report, confirmed the truth. The humans could destroy worlds, fleets, and civilizations without mercy. Yet they had not fired directly at the Council's main forces. Their movements were precise, almost deliberate. "They are not attacking yet," one officer whispered. "Why?" Zoran didn't answer immediately. His eyes scanned the shimmering human ships ahead. "They want something, not destruction. Yet. Watch carefully, learn. That is all we can do." Suddenly, the communication panels lit up. Every ship in the fleet received the same signal. A human face, calm and unyielding. Staring from the screens, a hush fell over the Council forces. The human commander's voice carried across the void. "Galactic Council," he said, steady and cold. "You have feared us for centuries. You have written stories about our power, warned your children, and pretended we were myths. That time is over." Zoran's jaw tightened. "Keep recording. Everything," he ordered. "Every word, every movement." The human continued. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to remind you of what you have forgotten. The galaxy has changed, but some dangers remain beyond your understanding. We are those dangers, and your ignorance has brought you to this moment." A young lieutenant whispered to her neighbor. "Is he threatening us?" Zoran shook his head. "Not exactly. It's more than that. This is a lesson, and we are the students." The human's face remained impassive. "Your fleets are many, your weapons strong, but your tactics are weak. You do not understand the rules of power anymore. You cannot challenge us and survive. Yet you can choose to learn, to listen, and perhaps endure." The council ships trembled under the weight of his words. Across the void, aliens whispered in fear and disbelief. Some cried. Some gritted their teeth in anger, but all understood. This was not a simple war. This was a reckoning. Zoran's voice broke the tense silence. "Admiral, they say they will not destroy us. Yet, what does that mean?" He did not answer immediately. Instead, he gestured to the viewing panels. A demonstration began. The human fleet moved as one, forming intricate patterns, weaving around the council ships with impossible precision. Energy pulses flowed harmlessly past the aliens, demonstrating power and control. Every movement reminded them of their vulnerability. "They are showing us our place," the young officer whispered. "We cannot fight them." The human voice returned. "Do not mistake this for mercy. The choice before you is simple. Obey the laws that govern the stars. Respect forces beyond your comprehension, or suffer the consequences." A Gerin counselor shouted, frustration and fear mixed in his voice. "We will not bow. We have our fleets, our weapons." The human commander's eyes narrowed, and the fleet responded in perfect unison. A pulse of light swept past the council. Ships, not destroying them, but sending a shiver through their systems. Engines hummed erratically. Weapons flickered and died. Gravity fluctuated. "This is not power against flesh," the human said softly. "This is power against hubris." Another counselor whispered, almost too quietly to hear, "They are teaching us. By showing us how fragile we are." Zoran watched carefully, understanding the lesson. Humans were not seeking immediate conquest. They were delivering a warning through demonstration, a message no species could ignore. The human continued, his tone unwavering. "Centuries ago, we vanished from your records. You forgot us. You pretended we were myths. Now we return not only to remind you, but to prepare you. Greater dangers lie beyond these stars. If you cannot comprehend our strength, you cannot survive what comes next." The council fleet shuddered. Fear gripped every commander. They realized that humans were not merely strong. They were beyond the galaxy's current understanding of power, intellect, and strategy. Zoran stepped forward, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. Why show us this?" The human's expression softened, almost imperceptibly. "Because knowledge is the first step to survival. Strength without understanding brings ruin. We give you a choice. Remember, learn, adapt, or fall into the void like countless civilizations before you." The message ended. Silence filled the fleet. For long moments, no one spoke. Then, small murmurs spread: fear, awe, realization. Zoran turned to his officers. "Record everything. Every detail. Send the data to the council. They need to understand what we just witnessed." A young lieutenant asked, voice barely audible, "Will they attack us if we do not obey?" Zoran's eyes remained fixed on the stars. "Not yet. But remember this, the humans are patient. Their patience is part of their power. Do not mistake restraint for weakness. History has taught us nothing lasts forever when they decide it does." Across the galaxy, alien worlds trembled as the news spread. The human fleet remained near the council forces, silent and unmoving, a shadow over the stars. Every alien knew that the humans were watching, judging. On the human flagship, the commander spoke quietly to his officers. "They understand now. Fear is the first teacher. Obedience and knowledge will follow." One officer nodded. "Will they survive the lessons to come?" The commander's eyes glimmered. "If they listen, perhaps. If they do not, history will repeat itself. And no one will cry for those who forget the past." Back on Geron Prime, Admiral Zoran turned to his officers, voice low but firm. "Prepare for the council meeting. The humans have spoken. And whatever happens next, we must remember this moment. The myth is alive. And it has given us our first message." Outside the fleet, the stars were quiet again. But the message had been delivered. The humans had reminded the galaxy of their existence, their power, and the choice that every civilization now faced. And for the first time in centuries, the aliens understood humans were not myths. Humans were reality. The council fleets gathered at the edge of the Sarnes Nebula, their ships forming an unsteady line against the infinite darkness. Every commander knew the warnings. Every soldier knew the stories, whispered in fear. Humans were real, humans were patient, and humans were unstoppable. Admiral Zoran stood at the bridge of the flagship, his hands gripping the railing as he watched the stars. The human fleet hovered in the distance, silent, its presence heavier than any battle line he had ever commanded. "They are waiting," a young officer said, voice trembling. "Why don't they attack?" Zoran did not answer immediately. His eyes narrowed as he studied the alien sensors and the empty expanse between fleets. "Patience is a weapon," he said finally. "They do not strike because they want us to. Act first, to show our weakness, to reveal ourselves." The counselors argued in the command hall below. "We cannot wait." One shouted, "We must fire. Show them that we are not afraid." Another counselor's voice was sharp, trembling with fear. If we attack, we die. Every ship in this fleet will be reduced to dust. Zoran's voice cut through the tension. We are here to survive, not to fight blindly. Every move we make must be calculated. Watch and learn. The stars ahead shimmered strangely. A ripple of light passed through the human fleet, bending space around them. The council sensors registered nothing. And yet, every officer on Geron Prime felt it, a pulse of awareness, like the entire fleet was watching them, judging them. On the human flagship, the commander observed the council forces through the holographic display. His expression was calm, his voice soft but firm. They are ready to panic, he said. Let them feel it fully. Let them know the cost of arrogance. Shall we strike now? An officer asked. The commander shook his head. Not yet. Observation is more powerful than fire. Fear teaches more than weapons. Let them understand their fragility first. Back on Geron Prime, the alien fleet tensed. Engines hummed, weapons bristled, and officers whispered to each other. Suddenly, a single pulse of light surged through the nebula. It was not an attack, not yet. But it was enough to knock out a council cruiser's shields temporarily. Alarms blared. Crew members scrambled. They are showing us what happens when we falter, a lieutenant whispered, wide-eyed. Zoran's voice was steady, but his eyes burned with urgency. Mark every movement. Record every pulse. This is a lesson, and we are the students. The humans moved with fluid precision. Ships twisted through space, appearing in multiple positions at once, then vanishing into empty voids. Council weapons fired relentlessly, but every shot missed. Shields shimmered, but no damage was done. The humans were untouchable. A young officer muttered in awe, "We cannot harm them. Our best weapons, nothing works. They are not invincible." Zoran said quietly, almost to himself, "But they are beyond our comprehension. That is what terrifies us." The human commander addressed the council fleet directly through the comms, his voice calm and unwavering. "You have forgotten history. You have ignored warnings. You have believed myths over facts. Now you see the truth. This is your final reminder before reckoning comes." A counselor shouted, anger breaking through fear. "We will not bow to legends. We will fight." The human fleet responded instantly, not with attack, but with control. A wave of energy passed over the council ships, causing weapons to misfire, engines to falter, and gravity fields to twist. One dreadnought drifted helplessly, spinning in the void. The counselors fell silent, the terror undeniable. "Do you understand now?" The human commander said, "We are not here for conquest. We are here to show what power truly is. Obey the laws of the stars. Respect forces beyond your comprehension, or you will fall." Zoran's jaw tightened. He turned to his officers. "Every commander, every fleet remember this. They are patient, precise, and unstoppable if underestimated. But knowledge and adaptation can save us. Learn, adapt, survive. That is our only chance." Another pulse of energy rippled through the nebula. This time, it struck a formation of smaller ships. They were not destroyed, but systems shut down and crews were thrown into chaos. Panic spread, and council officers realized that this was not punishment, it was a warning. "They do not wish to kill us," one officer said, trembling. "They wish to teach us." Zoran nodded. "Yes, but make no mistake, if we fail to learn, we die. Their mercy is temporary." The human commander observed the reaction through his display. "They are beginning to understand," he murmured. "Fear is the first lesson. Obedience, respect, and wisdom will follow." Time stretched. The fleets held their positions, the nebula glowing faintly with the human presence. No one dared move first. Every alien on the council ships knew the truth. Humans were no longer myths, they were real. And they were beyond reckoning by conventional measures. Zoran took a deep breath and addressed the council over comms. Let this moment be recorded. Let every world know what has been witnessed here. Humans are not myths. Humans are reality. And reality is far stronger than any story we ever told. The human fleet did not advance further. The commander's face appeared one final time on every screen. "Remember this," he said. "You have seen what we are. You have felt our power. History has not been kind to those who forget the past. Learn from us or fall. The choice is yours." Then, in an instant, the human fleet withdrew, vanishing into the darkness as silently as it had arrived. The stars returned to their ordinary shimmer. Council ships powered up, engines humming, systems restored. But nothing felt the same. Fear lingered like a shadow over every commander and soldier. Zoran stood silently, staring at the empty space. Where the humans had been, his voice was soft but firm. "The myth is alive. The galaxy will never forget it. Humans are back. And they have delivered their final message." Across the council fleets, whispers spread. Shock, awe, and fear mingled. Every species understood the truth. Humans were no longer a story. They were the apex, the reminder, and the reckoning that every civilization had once feared. Some counselors cried, some clenched their fists. But all knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had changed forever. And somewhere, deep in the void, the human commander's eyes glimmered. Patient, silent, and unyielding. Waiting for the galaxy to remember. Stars were quiet once more. But the reckoning had arrived.